Yep, just when you thought they couldn't mess it up anymore and that they should have let Crash Team Racing die with dignity, here we have another Crash Kart Racer, Tag Team Racing. But it's okay, because Jetix Magazine says it's the best Crash game ever, and everyone knows who Jetix Magazine is.
Hey everyone, it's me, your favourite primetime family-friendly YouTube superstar, Gump!
So immediately, I do have to give Tag Team Racing some credit. The story mode here is at least something different and not another random alien invasion. The plot here is that you're battling Cortex and accidentally stumble into a theme park built entirely for roller coasters and racetracks. Is that a wang? And you get roped into recovering the power sources for each of the theme park's lands that were mysteriously stolen from Von Clutch over here. But we're only helping him to do that because whoever does help him wins ownership of the entire park, which Cortex really wants to do, and we can't let him do that.
Perhaps a riddle or two! That's my Trolley Pack mascot, Willy Wumper Cheeks.
That sounds like a character from an adult movie.
Smash Brandy's cooch.
Yeah, probably that one.
So Tag Team Racing is yet another Crash Kart Racer, if you couldn't tell. It's CTR and Nitro Kart again, but with a million extra pointless mechanics, and in my opinion, it's even worse. The car controls are unbearably stiff, the track designs are the opposite of interesting, the shortcuts barely mean anything, the music is boring, the engaging and skill-based jumping drift to boost system has been totally removed and replaced with an awful power slide move that doesn't even help that much and makes this noise whenever you use it. But the worst thing about it, to me at least, is the main gimmick that separates this racer from the rest, the clashing system. In any race at any time, the character you pick can turn into a ghost and clonk their way into another car of your choosing to merge with them.
And as we all know, nobody can clink the clonk as good as Crash Badinky Donk.
By doing this, you briefly turn the game into Mario Kart Double Dash but for war criminals, since you can swap between driving the car or aiming a weapon that has now attached itself onto the car in order to blow up everyone else until you run out of ammo. On paper, this sounds like the coolest edition ever. It's like Crash Team Racing meets Twisted Metal, especially since there's plenty of characters with unique weapons, there's loads of vehicle types with different defense, speed and handling options, and plenty of unique visual combinations for certain karts clashing together. But all of this falls apart like soggy bread once you realise that you only need to clash with one car, and then you've automatically won every single race. Engine. Oh! You see, Engine's weapon he has are these rockets, and they are so overpowered, I'm pretty sure they could be used in tactical warfare. With these rockets, you mow everybody down with no effort, 1 to 2 hits max with splash damage. And whenever you're gunning, the CPU in the driver's seat goes around the track as perfectly as possible. So just make sure you fire the rockets, detach from your host like a dying flea right before the end of the 3rd lap because you get thrown forward every time you do detach, and then you'll find that you win every single time. When you're in this state, you are in complete control. You are a parasite. The helpless sap you attach to can't ever force you off. There's no time limit for this or penalty for overusing it. You can use overpowered race items in conjunction with the rockets. If you get blown up by other races, you recover 2 seconds later, still in the clash formation. And the best thing, if you run out of rockets, you can always detach and then immediately reattach again to get all of your ammo back. Sure, you can always switch driving positions and let the computer player shoot down the bogeys, but why would you do that when you can effortlessly get rid of the competition and not have to deal with the painfully unsatisfying driving mechanics? You could always say that this is an optional mechanic, I suppose, except it isn't, because if you don't clash with another car in any race, then you're a very weak target to every other car firing at you, and you explode so much as tumbleweed touches you. Not to mention, again, you're stuck with kart racing mechanics that feel like you're derailing a train, and other racers can attach themselves to you at random with as much consent as a Weinstein. Basically, if you don't clash, you lose, so why wouldn't you choose to clash with the most powerful weaponed racer? And then, once you unlock Engine shortly into the game, it all becomes even easier since you don't even need to look for him in the race to grab his rockets. You can clash at the very start of the race to guarantee victory with any car without breaking a sweat. Look at these KOs. Look at these KOs. For a 3-lap race lasting around 3 minutes, this means I was averaging 7 KOs per minute. And so at this point, why does the track design matter? Why do the visuals matter? Why do the shortcuts matter? For even a small fighting chance in tag team racing, you have to use this clash mechanic, which means you'll end up doing the same thing repeatedly to win every time. Even the other modes for each track have similar approaches to them.
Oh, and did you know? This game is a platformer?
Yeah, Tag Team Racing also has a giant hub world that's as much of a single game as the racing itself, despite being called Tag Team Racing! And my god, look at this. Look at this performance. The game didn't run spectacularly in the races, but this looks worse than my granddad's slippers. Couldn't you guys just focus on getting one gameplay style nailed instead of forcing as much in as possible? Did I just die from jumping into a bridge? The jumping and general running around controls are so slippery and floaty, it's practically impossible to control where you're aiming towards, and even the spinning attack is lazy. See this? This isn't a Death Tornado spin power-up from the other games. This isn't a super spin. This is just what happens when you hit square over and over again. The animation resets and you can keep spinning forever, meaning that no enemies will give you any trouble. No shits were given at all, my lumpies and germs. You also get interrupted a lot by Chick and Stu, who you may recognize from Nitro Fueled as the chickens who announce all the DLC Grand Prix. I hate them there, and I hate them even more here.
Spend it like crazy on new stuff. Bling bling.
Bling bling. Yeah, that's what all the kids were saying back then, wasn't it? Bling bling in my ding ding.
To be totally fair to Tag Team though, despite not being that fun to control, I do admire a few things they do in this overworld system. Firstly, they turned the death animations Crash is famous for into an explorative gameplay mechanic, as you can go on a scavenger hunt looking for hidden specific death cutscenes that quite often got a chuckle out of me. Oh look, it's Flat Bandicoot. Secondly, these are some pretty expansive and densely designed hub worlds, especially on the vertical plane, and all the pockets of coins you find are able to purchase more outfits for your characters, more cars, and even a few crystals that you need in order to open the gates that will take you to the next power gem you need to progress to the next world. There's a reason to explore other than finding the next race, and I like that. You can also physically abuse the customers in the park, which is very cathartic because I used to work in retail, and the amount of times I wanted to take the head off of a customer and kick it like a football is uncountable.
You can even kick the children! This is a 7+ game with child beating!
Actually, is this how old you need to be to play the game, or how many years in prison you'll get for child abuse? You know what though, now that I think about it, the balance is a bit too skewed in the platforming's favour, because winning a race only rewards you with 2 crystals, whereas you're going to be able to buy and find more hidden crystals in the overworld much faster in order to open up all these gates in the hub world to then find the hidden power gems and skip a huge chunk of the game without even doing a single race.
Welcome to Crash Tag Team Racing, where we don't like racing.
Overall though, Tag Team Racing is an absolute mess, and in my opinion one of the lowest points of Crash's console career. It tries to appeal to everyone, but ends up impressing no one. Half of it is Crash Team Racing, but with worse controls, worse performance, worse visuals, broken mechanics, and boring stale track design, while the other half is Twinsanity, but with worse controls, worse performance, worse visuals, worse enemies, and barely any really challenging platforming.
Hey, I'm a girl!
Yeah, Crash, what's wrong with you? Women can't fight back!
Yo ho ho in a bottle of Wumpa Whip.
Is it rude to say that I hate you?